to the spoken word lineage I pray. Primordial kunduzang dorje chang. Dayani se rukas leke wong mo. Prabhasti dorje drutreng sao. Dremai shenyan vinde mer bliss queen. Shila manju shakya devi king. Hands objects 25 nanam jim. Juburong zum han the clan of Kun. May the fortress of the view be gained. To reveal treasure lineage I pray. Jerky wong chuk bloom drigs in godem. Untarnished Vajra Sanjay Lingpa. Rinjan Palsang Han self-liberated. Padma Ling Du Du Nu Din Sam Ling. Dorje Tsara Tun Chu Jo Ling Mei. Meditation's perilous path be crossed. To the Dharma holders who transmit venerable Manyakate glorious disciples Newport so lang. Youthful Atsara lang lam jong dor. His 4 disciples dar charing san. Rochal ter dalin chak may conduct life for species I pray. To Kilaya's divine mandala. Vajra Sattva embodiment of peaceful and wrathful families display. Dharme Vajra, master of secrets. Vajra Vidarana, cutting through the root of delusive thought and you. Deity within whom is complete. Whole enlightened acts to tame beings. Body of compassionate wrath you rise. From the Dharma space, great blazing tamer of demons, the 100 Mudanzer. Splendorous great Heruka Vajra youth. Mother Carlo Gideb union of primordial wisdom and basic space. 10 powers, perfections, 10 royal pairs. Beast-faced ones, gatekeepers, oath-bound ones. Mighties and the rest, to you I pray. Grant complete victory over Mara. A dark blue weapon, perfected self. Horizon Rikba shines forth in the place of life force as wisdom wrath when the pervasive wisdom Gila strikes into open Dharma Dhatu space. May it sever dualistic thoughts, skandhas, elements, and sense sources. The three seats fill Vajra channels, wheels, one elaborated consciousness is fulfilled as great bliss. Vajra, when the key law of boundless compassion strikes the beings of 6 classes, may they seize the lifeline of compassion, the union of wisdom and form, signs, meaning, symbols, generate sparks of terrifying, blazing, wrathful ones. When bodhicitta's kila strikes, the mother secret expanse, may clouds of emanation, sublime suns emerge. Beings in existence are present as Vajra wrathfuls, yet they grasp at appearances and 3 poisons. When the material killer of signs that never lets go strikes harm doers, may their pain be brought to a final end. Conquer the skandhas, demon karmic body is freed as the deity. Conquer the demon of afflictions, is sealed off with bliss and emptiness. Conquering the death demon, one gains dominion of immortal life. Conquering the demon of gods, may we gain the spontaneous perfect ground. May the 4 acts and 8 qualities be swiftly accomplished, and specially may the flames of wrathful mantra rites incinerate the evil hearts of hindering enemies and obstructors. May glorious Eruga state be gained. Namo and all sentient ones with reverent 3 doors take refuge in the Guru triple gem. Ye dams and victorious hosts, alas to free all sentient ones by transforming samsara to karma kila's mandala. How rouse for immeasurable in spontaneous nature's palace, by Stephen, the concepts of obstructing and misleading do not exist when it is seen as timeless clarity. The mandala and its boundaries are established really naturally, or in the pervasive primordial pure and spontaneous opening expands concepts of confession and confess self-liberate in their natural state, yet should there be confusion caused by grasping at perceiver and perceived, I confess this ignorance to the host of self-arisen deities of Maya, pure Amrita, primarily self born, Rakta redness, liberating the 6 realms into basic space, greater Mahove Namna present in the ground. These 3 are the inexhaustible, unceasing elixirs, O my Vajra Pushbe Dube Haloke Gande Naividye Shabda phenomenal existences, the boundless palace amid a blazing dark blue triangle, the mandala wherein the eternal grounds enclosed and expanse of wrathful wisdom flames within the boundless ballast made from primordial wisdom self-project shines at its ender on lotus sun, moon and vortex tango demons dance ahoy, dark blue beaming light gathering it back. I rise as on fabricate dead perfect form, great glorious Vajra youth, dark blue with 3 faces, 6 arms, and 4 legs spread wide in a hero's dance. Right face white, left red, central dark blue. My crown's adorned with by them least that my heart is the life force seed. Mine eyes glare fiercely to the 10 directions. My gaping mouth show fangs and twisted tongues. My 2 right hands hold 9 and 5-pronged Vajra. My left hands wield a fire, my sand Gadva between lower hands. I roll a Mount Meru, Gila, the complete. I am with all fearsome charnel ground guard. Man's great God, Zord Gorlogate, light blue, one face, 2 arms, right hands holds blue low, desert embraces my neck. Her left gives a blood skull to my lips. In her foreheads bloom Karyab, you in her throat's red higher grieva, bear in our hearts blue Yamantaka, bear o'er our navels Jadru's Dutse Kilwa Yabium. In our navels dark green Meo Yabium. In our secret blaze blue Thubten, bear in our right shoulders white Namjal, bear in our left shoulders blue Yunghun, bear in our right thigh is a pink dojal couple. In our thighs amber kamsum couple. in four directions for supreme signs in 10 spokes, 10 rattles with gone swords and enamel faced emanations, each of these 24 rattles has 3 faces, 6 arms, 4 legs spread wide, Vajra wings charred, no ground adorned, men's wielding weapons marked with their own signs at 4 gates, 4 beasts faced gatekeepers round the mandala's bare river, reasons nations oath bound attend. The assembly Shvanarema, the earth sisters, copper, iron, and conch beings appear. Thus the principal cornuity and Gordar Genre in the main day, it is on a sun, the joint sized wisdom being Vajrakilaya, his Ardona sun stanza, grain sized rolled Vajra wherein hung is encircled by the mantra at each day's ground is an home at their throats and awe at their hearts, holding 10 directions. Buddha's now gone, blessing, empowerment, our grounds adorned by a Moga city as its sign. Om Ho Sva Am Mom Lama Bam Tam. Light rays emanate from our hearts, inviting the wisdom being. Samaya Ja Aveshaya revealing your blazing wondrous forms risen from the pure and unborn sphere of Dharma to great Vajra youth with your God from that sphere. Please come here into accomplish existence as you and me granted empowerment. This wrathful wisdom, King Vajrakilaya, with your gods, please come here and be Stokila, your city, please manifest all the signs and symbols of success. Samaya Tisha Land. To free from evil the three realms and break the grip of pride, Lord Jason Bow and renew. I pay 1 point at all. Jabni boho bradizaho hare zava brings mind made and real go imagined union outer and inner and secret I present to the projected self-born deities. Please receive these offerings non-duly without acceptance or reject. Joy Hom Vajra Argam Padya Bushbe Dube Aloke Gande Haividya Shapta Pratiza Soham. divided from 8 main and 1,000 branches, great seed, great ragda of glacier space, I over with the great dorm of the elixir maha panja amrita rakda baling dangahi hoing ignorance mountainous by love flesh gravy a swirling ocean of blood hatred upon heap these we give to Dorje Zinbo and his retinue home. King of wrath, great glorious Vajra, youth Dharma, Svirgon, Zorgor, Loje, Deb, Tenra, Vogings, wisdom and means, Vorm, Tenra, the queens from the innate sphere, nations sent to engage, hides tiger headed Zassos with fangs, bear manda las for direction. Guard slaughter, rest 12 kilo guards, hand beings of copper, iron, and gold, and all other oath-bound killer guards, homage and praise to you and your hosts. The times come to fulfill your heart pledge, fulfill direct destructive actions. you sons corn dance fiercely in Gorloge Dems expire sound emptiness mantras melody roars like thunder. Thus I will practice until the Samaya is fulfilled in the old images bands of space. Light rays radiate throughout the 10 direction from the ZZ level and the mantra string at my heart, invoking the 3 roots of Maya from their very hearts. All their blessings of body, speech, and mind descend like rainfall in the forms of white home, red and blue home, dissolving ceaselessly into my 3 possesses. Then all the blessings and powers of all the victorious ones, compassion in the form of inconceivable Vajrakilaya deities large and small, gently fall and merge with me. The deities of my body mandala, as well as the deities in union residing within my channels, are like the seeds of an open sesame pod. They and all the mandala deities recite the mantra, resounding like a broken beehive.
Vajrakilaya sarva beneva Om 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 Vajrakilaya sarva beneva
Can we continue the questions from yesterday? When visualizing the white mantra garland, is it important to visualize the written words of the mantra, or can we just visualize it as vibration? Does the white light of the mantra garland reach out to all sentient beings? So, working ngangchen karpo chi komgi yorwa ngangchen kong worgi rangshin karpo komgi yore. Teni tim ti kompe kaplam teni nyemba ki dro rere ngang sebo kom go reves yana ngang satira ti de la the vibration la guda guyo vege da de ti chipo kom na chogo reve yana ngang so yingro rere kom go reve teni ngangchen kapo tim semchen ta tim kapo ti semchen tamche la pogo reve
Uzer kapo kawala yorwe
uzer kapo tim ngangchen le uzer kapo chogo sa mushi
kawala doji papa
sorry
Meten anko sumason kawala Jetan doji papa ha de ngomborwa Tara purpa senap na neno Okay Jetan di nga de son true gufse Shewa jeba wang trapo teken sundun la kado kar si mar jang se yorwa O tanda terus true huri Te ndu tate so nga la semba te ya tang yang wizard des true ya tang ta wizard de yang true ne tenin chöba phya tang wizard man true ne redo ko semjin tamji la digdep jaya o tanda yore Jetan tare trwa tang sarpo chi hako maso hina ya O ten du ndor du na nga te la tine tene nga la shipa mambo sendo ten du sanje nimchu semjin dripjang dala ngudup O tanda si du tanda dos tene te da so so rimun da was yana yaksare samtana wazin chupa pu samtana ridu samtana nga tel semte
So We visualize the mantra garland in 4 different colors, in white, blue, red, and yellow, to represent one of the 4 enlightened activities: pacifying, wrathful, increasing, or magnetizing. And so now, regarding the question of whether we should focus on the mantra or the light rays, so when you visualize the light rays radiating out, you can visualize that and then visualize how these light rays make offerings, gather back and radiate out again, and then purify the obscurations and negativities of all sentient beings in the 6 realms. But also, I'm not sure if I understand that question clearly because of the white color, but also generally speaking, when we visualize the mantra garland and the light rays radiating, it performs different purposes, such as making offerings to the Buddhas or to purify the obscurations of sentient beings. And also the mantra recitation leads to the attainment of siddhis for oneself. It would be probably best to visualize these in turn, so in taking turns. So sometimes you visualize how the light rays make offerings, and sometimes how they purify obscurations, and then sometimes you just focus your attention on the mantra syllables themselves.
That then do the Druptab can Khenpo and Raw the Tama not to the race. Ta nga de Latine, the Nilega Tama, Titoni, not de Latine. Rogoris. This do this only dream la luji lucy. Samtala had to su young. Then he was the road me passy. Samtala had Korang rang la semte. Then the Katsang hag to that the Shuimba. Namjuna Samtala to the city checks now a chibo, the Senate said dinner. Ante could sail a garsona, dueling John Rory. Lai produce. Tele garsona teni ti the anti-capsus ma nakona yingdula semte ada. Ti hag to that to some nothing. And sometimes takes in your hundona and takes it young. Not in the seeing do. Not the rang da nimbotable. Deri hotelity in the sigures.
And so according to the sadhana, the essence mantra is visualized at the heart. And then also we visualize how from the mantra garland light rays radiate and performs various functions. So the various activities are also performed through the mantra. It is said that at times the mind should be in a more focused state, and at times in a more relaxed state. So sometimes you can just focus more on the chant, the melody of the mantra, and visualize how the light rays radiate and gather back. And then sometimes you can just focus on the mantra, the syllables itself. As we also discussed yesterday, when we recite the Vajrakilaya mantra, then sometimes we fall into this state of kind of this pleasurable state, and that we are kind of going beyond a certain point where then it could transform into a mara. And so at that time, so when we become sort of infatuated, but at that time, it's the time where we can shift our focus to the individual syllables of the mantra. Then again, if we get tired of that, we can focus again back on the melody of the mantra chant, or the essence mantra at the heart.
Shiba girls in the Latinan Kaheji Huna, not the tambo, lad Shibas, not the Doji Junior Shiba. The name had the Cuba Shibas, not the Latin was the Rodus. ya ozer tune tini ozer ke ne lan chöpa la mo pa de me pa tune tini ya chöpa phoya tini nga de la tini yang ozer tune du tara kong ni hwa na yi semjin ke rekdo ke semjin tam je dik deb ja ya ten de nga de dib jong du shi pa tini nga de ngudrup du shi ba Yuma nga de ni nga de la tine sanap da ngudrup chu shu ya. O tanda nga de ke lega sama de la tine se go res.
It is taught that there are 9 different ways of perceiving, seeing the mantra. And just to mention a few of them, the mantra should be seen as the deity, so as Vajrakumara himself. Or the mantra is seen as an offering, and in this context, light rays radiate, and from these light rays manifest inconceivable offering goddesses who make offerings. Or when light rays radiate from the mantra garland, the light rays purify the obscurations and negativities of the sentient beings in the 6 realms. So here the mantra should be seen as a purification of obscurations. Or the mantra can be seen as a siddhi, an attainment, or as the power generated through the mantra. So all activities are really performed through the mantra.
Okay, next one.
The next question. The highest learning is to realize the nature of mind. Why do we need to recite mantras and texts? Shouldn't we be putting more effort into realizing the nature of mind? Could you please explain how the Vajrakilaya practice relates to realizing the nature of mind? Tini nelok tona tini tuba kongna mes imbacha songsoa. Tini tindu tini ganso nelok toya ra chobo nelok togori. Tini ganso niemba toya tini tomba tamenda toya gyomsen khareris. Tini chobo kom gyap semgi ngobo tana yaga marwes. Tini tim semgi ngobo toya tita purpa ki nyamlen dreva khare yori.
Dara da ke chekyu de sem ke nelok toya deres. Da ti nelok de toya la thap dam ra gora lakpar de sangha la thap mang la kawa me pas. Ten de thap mang bo ti la kale shira mo go. Da yore de ko to sonen de de ma do sem jin de la ta de so chama thap kharchan bo ji ma bo song song a de toya thap ri. Da dorje purpa kanen dreva resna. Persia the Purpala the Perchuni Tombani in cars. Persia, Pan Tender me ying us. The new song don't you battle Dorje Papandordena Sama the
Panakare.
Pan Tender me yinga. Sungjung Rev Dorje, you know, Larry. Then the Dordena that the Dorje Purpose, Dorje unit, the so same can nail out around Kazan Lion Ba. Tana rinpoche ke song song ten du ti jatang sangha nyam se len ya la lam rinpa ni ni ro go re lam rinpa ni de ka re sina jerem ta zorem ta telan de he mang bo ring ti deb na den ti yu yin ji ke deb na tani ni ba de la ti jerem da zorem de ni ka re sina je wa ke si ba jong ya la jerem Dagana yin Luke Chapatan Himba Jonya. Ta Zorem de Chewak Sipa Pak Chajonya Tang, Semken Zimbatan Himba Jonya. Jezo Nita, ta Sangha Nyamson Lingona Lam Tinimaton Rosa Yomares, de Chulok Nima Gaju Gelox and Chepa Yomare, Duptabla Perwa Nari, Shinje Nari de Chepa Yomares. Ta take can draw on capsule, the Jerem de la Namjuna Tumola. Tsini sum yehur. Tsini sum de garisina serva. That la gomba kapsa pe sarbu. Sarbu mina. Dagasa ti chorwa. Yungoma chorwa mayona niba thongmara. Pardang ta remote so pe kedaji so pe tata 나 숨보나 인도와 살아 니바들라더니 라바드 라 초워드서 그 그진 차로 사캬 다트솔라 아빠다딘스 다가서를 몬지보던 라므르 디가죠 말이 참마나 김치 요레 다빠다데 다트소 하고서 이라 다가서 야야 평 말에 된데 템바스 양스 공고레스 개체휴의 양스 공네 템보소 고레스 베나디 darab dojik siksom ne dem nan de songwa ngoran thodu chuba ta jik thodu je bas ngoran thodu chu tugres so ta chugres ge chekyu de deng tro thodu jawa lam do oten du tempo gongores taranga din nan de songwa ran lu la ku jawo la yen jur me che ten sa ma zina man kan du khomba man de lu yedam che la nen tin du sin du tempo mena ta siu ku chon thwa na yi chochik ze te ke tene ni ba thon tho mares
siu chu thong wa na she
jiu ku cho zo ni cho ma ze a de ndi ta ti ba ji ma ro ra te phe ma spe tempo yang se gong go res de ndu o de la ta yerem tumong 신이 숨셔야 되리 다 텔라 믹사 ndrong ka jul kare yorsina jerem goya tan 신이 이야 창고레스 신이 이야 데 가르 창고선 따라 티kin timbe nyen bonana jancho lejon tine sarkin 다스 담보 라 곰 혼라 삼닝기 산초 셈데 야보 고레스 삼닝기 산초 셈데 야보 곰야나 되니 주란 레지 곰나 라 찬로레스 다 삼닝게 산초 셈데 메나 저런 라지 곰데나 다 뉴모 번남 돈람을 지엔도 데 라데 랑네 게 이히바데 차토 마레스 데인데 다랑 아디나나 담보들 아딘 담보들 데 산초 셈리바데니 이발레 예담라 데인데 데 믹사게다 누군 가줄라 지름 신이 예스 다티 강라 데니 심바숨 시르 다담 색심바 라이 히심바 다당 라 니스메 바들라 띵엔지 심바란 다텐두 다르게 룹탑디나나 담보 소소 도제유노 고야당 고미야당 드는 이바들라 이히심바 니마게 되는 수은강 단나름 보지 송세와 수은강스네 디 소모들라 말이 데 이히심바게 된 다디강드나 띵엔지 semba dela teni dorje ke tewala hongying dwa tendu de 띵엔지 사운 tendu teni semba sum 창고래 데 가장 홍익 대배 자침보리 휴 다라드나 띵엔지 semba들라 세르지 dorje nemre 참 란도다 dorje 세야데 돈이 그도 도지 춥든스 먼저바 마히바 뎀바 사와 어떤 도지 춥든 요라메바 데 세르가르스는 세르들은 요와오 말에 나도 부게 세르 사월을 야나 우드 난칼 참로레스 데 사 우드 난칼 참고 세르게 가도들은 요야 요 말에스 데인데 세르지 도지에서 데니 홍다 닝기스는 사초선 도르나 도지 퍼바 냠니시디 도르제테 돈이 그 도르제다 홍 되더니 인기세는 사초선 다 코니 개치 모르겠어 데인디 따라 홍드 가장 저히에다 땡에 뜻은 마 휴 데인디 가르시나 따라 불발을 믹사면도 신기라 홍 대강 레고난드나 라마 시콤 데니 샵주난드는 코르단 오르제 세야주리 데인디 홍그 레고난드는 rum보지 바야네 따라 신기게 디 저히에난드는 야유 데치 데니 워드는 코르단 오르제 시디다 강화다 모다다 야다 따다 로마보 요건 삼노 동토모도 다가나 인로와 렉톡도서 카케다 돈로타웨나 통용리 인다도서 가레이나면 te homodo jetan do ara tok de ko jor mares ngunjur Tenzin Dzambhala di gangna do ara tok yores lomba ka he ma thok de lami lomba ka he moge de ke de tini o yera ta ka he de wo jibo de la se ya o te ndi Dzambhala di gangna do ara tok yores jarkap che kinana do ara tok yores tini drongcher che kinana te chang de de ndi dor de ngetana Dzambhala ke ta Dzambhala de chame thong do ati sapra ke board yapjin de ya ya Dzambhala ke sapra do wa de yapjin de ya te tik se mi pas ya le lan do ya da ta da mo da da ka ba de so yo kun de lo mo do de tel ka za ren bo chin de song so wa dripa mangbo yore de dripa chama de dor du ya na dripa ni len du gres dripa ni de nyu mo bu dripa ta hib ze dripa ta khoni de jetang de rin do de rakpa ta chawa ke che pa nyu mo bu dripa te ken khorwa la drip hib ze dripa te ke tini sanje kompang la drip de ren bo che ke pen na semjin la ningi che em kap so nyu ningi pe shok kim bo je na mi kyon da shu na tani nyu mo bu dripa te pe ma bo ta ro re song song a tani lama la 대바다 무그 돈이 몇개 효나 10즈 드바데 빼만 보다 오래 대인도 다 드림니데 자마 중요하대 다라 프로하는데 기타 신제다 프로바코니 변들와 치모도와 디 프로하 코란다 기타 라만 볼데 조 헤르가 쭈디 쭈가 나로니 신제다 프로하가 투가는 거야. 다 투가라 요야데 가르리스나. 나초티 남주나 가르라고. 닝독라야다. 드랄링 샤츠 싱글라도. 데도 은액 도지 프로바가 닝타우데 신지 찬도. 나초페나 저머니나 프로하데 조가서 로상은 나나 신지 조라. 나초페나 프로한 조르 데데 니 럼보지나 신지 조도 직된 냠니시야다. 템브레데 답데원도 군도 군이페. 저와치모도와 jetan la jo yore de provat hinje de provat tugal no tini ten de la chama di nyamni de yama re de jetan ti zubo la shi chotan ba re ya la se ya da tini chama la ke gang de yore la ora de la de so re lu ta kwa ram ja de ki gi chen ko sta lu te la din som chang ba la 대바리바 진코르데 창도 그래 롱니 쳬직동 제미지 대바스티 닌야 레레라 베나 나 나차미리 다 윤보 탕보 던다지나 추추니 휴자비라 롱니 쳬 직동 죽자지 그래스 다티 나노라 이시게 롱데 죽자 던쳐 되나 기부마도 니 인다 참아 유몽거 롱레스 천이다 굽자 그세더니 휴장아
저도 됐어
라
신이당
천이다 굽자 니 휴장아테 유몽버 롱린도와 두갸 던쳐 되나테 이시글 롱 네 이제 소 참아 직기람 건 로당당 고남데서 되니 하고 탐나 배야 보조레스 조데다 림보체 주봉 제지 동시나 문도 동하니 신나무도다 부주 난틴라 따와게 돈이 삭힌다 종친도 음아서를 때 참아데 소르 로트록 냠폴라 도마로 직진은 냠폴라 첩대신 되니 칼란다오나 다 뇨짜 잡 칼라 짱마 주 칼라 주네 데르나나 로와 마임바 틀만나 로는디 소수 칼테오나지 빼 마시 텐제도와 엔두 다다 디 당와데서 되니 지란소게 빼 제당 가친 돈친세는 다른 본인도 소만 보통 때는 패비오리데 문에 텐데 마음 발라야 빼 꿈보리 괜찮도 솔로다 라친이다 만친보다 주부 망보 요리 등문에 텐데 카유라요게 당와 낭통기 다 춘이 요 말스나 딕스는 요시게리면 빼 꿈보레스 땡등 가서 참아 깔아서 보듯서 배 짜침보다 나촌라오나 Rinpoche Nyampun Chalong Song Rite, Tera Sachet Jibo, Saya Dan Desa Chama Triangle, then the Jibo system, then the Tini, Danga the Petot, Ranju the Tamar the Tat, and the Chavatan, the Kalen train. What end out in my La, Cheto Chavatan, the Tangal Kangan train, the Katan, and Bear, she and Nang that any. That and Nampi Tamo, him, Naki Tawan, and Munajayatano. Thank you, Rinpoche Song had the Tama. No Tonang said they said on that any pay Yabo Chadra. Then on the Navajibo said any that those no take it on. Then the Chando. This is you. What is Otama? The Latin, Rotang the Yabo. Gotham Yabo your ass.
So, yes, what is most important is to realize the nature of the mind, and there are many different methods to realize the nature of the mind. The secret mantra is rich in skillful means and requires the least difficulty. So if one has realized the nature of the mind, and then it is fine to just stay within it. But there are sentient beings who have not realized the nature of the mind. And yesterday, Rinpoche spoke a lot on that. He said that there are many methods to realize the nature of the mind. And the Vajrakilaya practice is a method to realize the nature of the mind. The term purba, which is the Tibetan word for Vajrakilaya, Wakila, the first syllable pur refers to the space of empty dharmata. And then ba, so purba, the ba refers to the unfailing interdependence and 5 wisdoms arising due to that. So Vajrakilaya or Vajrakumara really is the nature of our mind. Also today Rinpoche again spoke on that. In order to practice the secret mantra, we need to follow 2 steps. That is the generation stage and the completion stage. And there are also many explanations on that, and I also wrote on that in the commentary of the Yamantaka book. And so the purpose of the generation stage is to purify the existence of taking birth. And also to purify our clinging attachment to our physical body. And then the purpose of the completion stage is to purify the existence of death, the karmic imprints of death, to purify the mental fixations in our mind. So when we engage in the practice of the secret mantra, we always follow these 2. We practice the generation and the completion, no matter whether we practice according to Nima, Kagyo, Gelugpa, and so forth. There's no difference. And there's also no difference between the deities Vajrakilaya and Yamantaka. So normally it is said that our generation stage practice needs to possess 3 characteristics. Number 1 is clarity. We need to visualize the deity with complete clarity. Because if the visualization is unclear, we will also not develop a feeling, an experience. And if that does not arise, then also it is not that powerful. So we should visualize just according to the image that we have, but really so as clear as an actual live person. Then the second step is to recollect the purity. And this clear appearance, the deity's color, the legs, the hands, the implements, the ornaments, and so on, all have a very specific meaning. It is not just a beautiful painting, but each of the elements of the deity has a very specific meaning. So we should not just leave it with visualization, but also we should go deeper and understand the meaning of what we are visualizing. And then the third characteristic is the stability. We need to habituate over and over again until it becomes stable. And that's really most important. In Garab Dorje's 3 words that strike the vital points. First, it says one should recognize one's own intrinsic awareness. Then, secondly, one must decide upon this one single nature only. And it is said that in generally it is more easy to recognize our true nature. But then the third statement, it says we should also gain confidence, assurance in the liberation of arising thoughts. And that is more difficult, even though we can decide upon or recognize our intrinsic awareness. It is more difficult to gain this confidence, which is really the stability that is acquired through habituation. In the fivefold path of Mahamudra, it says in the Yidam deity practice section that unless one's own body establishes an unchanged a firm basis in the unchanging ground, one establishes one's own body one establishes one's own body as the deity in the unchanging ground, the retinue of Dakas and Dakinis will not assemble. So we need to gain stability in the visualization of the deity. One should not be like a bird drinking water, but one just basically takes it in drop by drop. But also one must be habituated to it by training or meditating over and over again until it becomes really stable. So these are the general 3 characteristics of the generation stage. And in the Jigong Kagyu lineage, there are actually 4 characteristics, an additional one. And regarding that, it is said in the essence of the Mahayana teachings, Tekchen Denpen Nyingbo, that before one engages in deity practice, one must cultivate a mind of bodhicitta, of love and compassion. So that would be the 4th characteristic. Because only if the deity arises out of a state of bodhicitta will it become the actual wisdom being. If you lack bodhicitta and visualize the deity, and instead of cultivating compassion, you cultivate all kinds of negative thoughts and afflictive emotions, and even though you're visualizing the deity, it will not become the true wisdom deity. So because of its importance in the fivefold path of Mahamudra, bodhicitta is the first step, and that is followed then by the Yidam deity practice. So these are the 4 characteristics according to the Jigong Kagyu. And then in our deity practice, there are also 3 sattvas or 3 beings. There is the samaya being, oneself. There is the wisdom being, a deity. And then there is the samadhi being, which is the union of yourself and the deity, the non-dual union of yourself and the deity. So how we apply these 3 sattvas or beings to our sadhana here? So first we visualize ourselves as Vajrakilaya, we are the samaya being. And then next we visualize the wisdom being, as Rinpoche also had explained before. We visualize at the heart of Vajrakilaya, on a sun disk, is the wisdom being, the size of a thumb joint. And then regarding the samadhi being, so then at the heart of that wisdom being is a golden vajra with a hung syllable at its center. And that hung syllable is the seed of samadhi, so the samadhi being. So this is how the 3 sattvas or beings are complete within the Vajrakilaya practice. And yesterday I also mentioned how important the syllable hung is. So it represents the samadhi of one's mind. And it is at the center of the gold Vajra that has the size of a barley seed. The Vajra itself represents the meaning of emptiness. And generally the Vajra also possesses 7 qualities, such as being invincible, unchanging, firm, solid, and so forth. And the gold nature of the Vajra, the golden Vajra, gold also implies a nature that is unchanging. So in Tibet also we say that gold underground never loses its brilliance that pervades a space. So its brilliance never changes, even underground. It's unchanging. So when we engage in the Vajrakilaya practice, these are the most important aspects. The syllable Hong and the deity arising on the basis of bodhicitta. And so the Hong is at the hub of the Vajra, which represents emptiness. So we have emptiness, compassion, and awareness. So these are the most important aspects. And I also mentioned some of that yesterday. And there is certain parts of the visualization that are not illustrated very clearly in the Vajrakilaya practice, but in the Yamantaka practice, in the book actually, I have placed an image of the syllable Hong that illustrates how we should engage in the visualization. So you have the syllable Hong, and in the body of the syllable Hong, you visualize the guru. And then at the lower part, the vowel sound, the shabgyu, the hook of the syllable Hong, you visualize the retinue and various substances of wealth. And then in the circle of the Hong, this is where I placed Rinpoche's picture, so that's in that commentary book. And then on the lower part, we are supposed to visualize our retinue, our wealth, and so forth in the vowel part of the Hong. But since it is very difficult to add all of that in a little vowel part, we can't really put our house in there and the car in there and all of our things. They won't all fit into that little hook. And so therefore, instead, to represent all of that, I put the earth ball, the ball of our globe Earth, to represent everything that exists in our Earth. Not just in the human realm, also in the other realms of samsara, like the animals and so forth. So actually, everything is represented in the Hong syllable. All of the 6 realms of samsara, all the beings. And actually, all the beings of the 6 realms are also present in this very world, in our world on Earth. Even though they are not the actual 6 classes of beings, in a more hidden way, they do actually exist in this world. For example, there are countries where there is warfare, and that is really the life of the jealous gods. Or there are countries where people die of starvation, of famine, and that is really the world of the hungry spirits. And then there's places where people are very happy and affluent, and that is like the God realm. So we really have the 6 realms of samsara represented in our world. And even within one country in the world, or even within one city in the world, it is all represented. So that is why I placed the globe of our Earth into the vowel sound, the hook at the bottom of the Hong syllable in that image, to represent everything, since it's difficult to add everything in there. And so then Gajun Rinpoche also mentioned the different obscurations to be purified. And he said that in brief, there are 2 major obscurations. The obscurations of the afflictive emotions, and then the subtle obscurations to seeing the nature of the mind. And the difference between these two obscurations is that one is more coarse and the other is more subtle. The afflictive emotions, more coarse, they obscure us within samsara, the nature of samsara. And then the subtle obscurations to knowing our true nature, and they obscure our attainment of enlightenment. Also, Garshan Rinpoche mentioned that when we cry a tear of great compassion for sentient beings, we are purifying the obscurations of the afflictive emotions. And he said that when we shed a tear of faith and devotion to the Guru, we are purifying many obscurations that prevent us from seeing the nature of the mind. So these are the two main obscurations. And again, Vajrakilaya practice and Yamantaka practice have a very strong connection to each other. In the Vajrakilaya practice, there are many different deities, but the principal ones are the 10 Herukas, one of which is Yamantaka. And Yamantaka is the Heruka in Vajrakilaya's heart. And the reason why Yamantaka is in his heart is to represent his strength of heart. And really Yamantaka really is the heart of Vajrakilaya in essence too. Which is also why it is very auspicious that when you are doing the Yamantaka Drupchen here around Losar time, the Tibetan New Year, and we are actually doing Vajrakilaya in Germany. So that's very auspicious connection, since Yamantaka is at the heart of Vajrakilaya as one of the 10 Herukas. And so this is, in a sense, also the essence of all the deities. All the deities are really connected to each other. It is said that our bodies are filled with the 100 peaceful and wrathful deities. Our body is a field of infinite purity, consisting of the mandala of the 3 seats. So different Buddhas and Bodhisattvas mandalas all pervade our body. Also, it is said that each day we take 21,600 breaths. So we breathe 21,600 times each day. And so now speaking for like an average person who is healthy and young. So in 24 hours, they breathe 21,600 times. And it is said that of these 21,600 times, only 675 breaths are actually breaths of wisdom winds. And the rest of them, which is, was it 20,925, is winds caused by afflictive emotions. And so it's good to understand that when we practice the generation stage. But mainly, also as Garshan Rinpoche said, what Garshan Rinpoche really gives us, when he gives us an instruction, is the very essence of the 84,000 Dharma teachings, of the sutras and the tantras, of the teachings of the Tibetan Buddha Dharma, Mahamudra, Dzogchen, Madhyamaka. And he always tells us that a great diversity has one taste. So the way Rinpoche offers us his instructions, his precious instructions, is he's preparing it for us just like preparing food and pouring it into a bowl, and not only that, even spoon feeding it to us into our mouths. So it is extremely precious and very important. And it's important also that you recognize that, because many of you came from really far away, and that was also expensive. And it's a very special opportunity, and it's very difficult to find such an opportunity again in the future. Now there are many great lamas that are famous, have titles and so on, but it's really rare to find someone who gives us really sincere instructions from the heart like Archen Rinpoche. Of course, we can't say that there's no one. Surely there is someone, but it's very rare. So we are extremely fortunate. And so also myself, I see myself as very fortunate, even though I really grew up with Rinpoche and I received a place to stay and food to eat and received so many instructions. I found it difficult to answer all of your questions. Like yesterday, I felt a bit anxious about it. It's good that it's cold now, because if it would be hot, I would be sweating a lot. Of course, if I would have paid greater interest to Rinpoche's instructions over the years, then I would have no problem and could just happily recite the Vajrakilaya mantra. So this is how we should practice the generation stage and the mantra.
That's on the way.
15 minutes.
Oh.
That's the way.
We start 3:45.
We are changed. Gabe's mind, German mind, my mind, American mind.